So this is the theoretical background to a lot of the situations that you're going to see in the coming video with the example hands. And to bring this home, I think we'll just go to Poker Stove to see how this equity, this expected or estimated equity on flop pushes could be versus certain potential holdings by your opponents. Good, so let's take a scenario where we're ace king and we only call an open raiser with ace king offsuit in middle position, say. And okay, let's say the open raiser was the sevens here, and this guy made a light 3-bet squeeze with diamonds, 5 diamonds, so to say. Okay, so we cold call in middle position to an open position raiser, and we get squeezed by the player on the button, who is making a, again, light 3-bet squeeze, as defined in the previous video as not necessarily a smaller bet, but a wider range of hands. So he sees an under the gun player raise it up. In this case, the guy has 7, say. Also raising lighter, say, under the gun to widen his range, in full ring at least. And we then cold call it instead of raising it with ace king. And this guy three bet squeezes light with a suited 6-5. Sevens call, and we only call, thinking that either one of these guys could maybe be on strong pairs, even kings or aces. Yeah, it happens. So anyways, we just call to hit that flop, and the flop comes 4 diamonds, 7 of diamonds, king of clubs. How does that look for the entire situation here? And as always, guys, of course, you're not playing this specific hand with this opponent. Of course, you're playing his entire range of hands for 3-bet squeezing and for open raising under the gun. It's a bit different, but just to give you a concrete example, this is what the equity breakdown would be on that flop. So we called completely sandwiched with ace king. We only called, which is very often a bad idea. Very often functional. Let's say these guys actually were on proper hands. Say this guy 3-bet squeezed with jacks, with queens, and this guy had opened with tens or jacks, whatever. That looks markedly different as an equity breakdown. We'll just pop that in there real quick. This guy squeezed us with queens, this guy opened with jacks on this board. And all of a sudden we're just a market favorite. So it's a playable call in certain situations. I'm not going to say right or wrong necessarily, but in general, let's say this guy did, for educational purposes, 3-bet squeeze us light. Okay, we made that call here with the ace king in middle position, get squeezed, call, and we call. And then we hit the flop actually we were looking for. We hit that king, we hit that top pair. And look at how this breaks down. Just to go back to that small pots with small hands, big pots with big hands. I've got top pair, top kicker on a 2-suited board, 4-7. And I'm just licking my chops here. Very generally as a novice recreational player. And again, this will very often be a very, very strong hand versus your opponent's total ranges. But just to give you an example of what can be the situation, this guy's got a 65 suited, flopped an open-ended straight draw and the flush draw for 15 clean outs. He's got 45% equity with his draw alone. 45% equity with the 65 on that board because he's got 15 outs. Guy who open raised to widen his range, say, under the gun, and then cold called, well, called, say, the 3-bet flat, the squeeze. He flops middle set, which, as we'll see in the example hands, is just beautiful because underset is still possible, which you totally dominate. And when you have that king or that ace or that queen as the high card on the board, it's very likely that against two players somebody's going to have that and pay you off with your middle set. So this is just really, really valuable for that mid set right here. And his total equity, if nobody folds and everybody goes to the river, is 54%. We're sitting here with top pair, top kicker, and we have 1.772% equity to the river. Basically nothing with top pair, top kicker. So again, guys, have a look. Small pots, small hands, big pots, big hands, i.e. two pair plus. Not over pairs, and sure as hell not top pair, top kicker, although it is good given certain circumstances. Please don't quote me out of context here. Let's look at a different situation. Let's look at aces. Wow, that changes a lot, doesn't it? Amazing. Now we're up to 4% equity to the river with an overpair of aces on that board. We are 4% complete underdog. 96% of the time, say, we're going to lose with a pair of aces, an overpair on that board given this constellation, given these hand matchups. Pretty sick. Let's say our open raiser here, the sevens, open raised and then folded to this guy's light 3-bet squeeze, and we called him. And same flop, now two-handed, and without that flop set, this guy is still 56% ahead of us. We've got 43.7% equity to the river with our top pair, top kicker. So that means this guy here with the 65 suited, basically 15 clean outs, has 56% against our top pair, top kicker. That's maybe for some of you guys really astonishing. I hope it is, because this is a monster draw and he's actually at the flop ahead of you just with the draw. Now let's look at aces. Completely the same. Let us look at a different situation. Let's look at ace king with one blocker. He's still at 52%. Pretty crazy, right? Let's look at ace king with two blockers. Now it switches, because now he's got to hit that open-ended straight draw and to the river. That's 31% equity. But even with just the one, say, he's still ahead of us. Top pair, top kicker, behind on the flop versus that hand. Let's look at this one. Let's say our same situation, but our squeezer had sevens. Alright. Pretty sick. We've got here a backdoor flush draw for the diamonds, backdoor nut flush draw, and top pair, top kicker in a heads-up pot on the flop. Flop set is 95% ahead of us. 95%. So what's the rule? Don't remember. Oh yeah, small pots with small hands, big pots with big hands. What's a big hand? Well, two pair or better. That means we have a strong hand, which is very often a hand that we donate our entire freaking stack with, because we're not expecting this. Some of us don't even, until this video, know about this kind of stuff. So crazy, right? We're here with the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. Let's say we've got the flush draw and top pair, top kicker, right? You would think that would be just enormous. Top pair, top kicker, and the flush draw. Only 30% equity to the river. So the set here, again on a two-suited board, should protect with that flop set on that board to protect against our flush draw. Here we do have running kings and running aces for a full house, but let's say that king comes. Just for example purposes, king of hearts, say. So we trip up on the turn. Miss our flush, but we trip up on the turn. Looks good, right? Wrong. Our trips, with the ace kicker by the way, gave our opponent a full house. And he has now at this point 84% equity against our turned trip hand with top kicker and a flush draw. Of course, in this case, yeah, he's already full, so it doesn't matter. Let's look at this one. Alright, so here we go. Same scenario. Squeezer had the sevens, open razor let it go, and the flop comes queen, 9-4 of diamonds, 2 suited, which happen to be our suit of spades. Here at this point, we, for all intents and purposes, whiffed. Okay, we didn't hit the king or the ace, which, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is going to happen 66 more or less % of the time, 2 times in 3 flops. Yet, in this case, he's got the underpair, and we haven't hit one of our cards, but we do have this monster draw. So we have the full 9 outs for this for the flush, plus every king and every ace. Gives us more equity than he has on the flops. This is a good time to push at this point with 53% equity, sometimes 54, whatever. However, if, as will often be the case, that queen has been hit by this guy, and as will also often be the case, when somebody hits that queen, the kicker is going to be an ace or a king. Okay, so that takes away 3 of our outs. And look at the difference here. Now all of a sudden we are behind at, on average maybe 46, 45%. Means this guy is a favorite, even though we do have this very strong draw. So when we push with 46% equity, we have to make up that difference in fold equity. That means the likelihood that this guy will let go of top pair, top kicker in a 3-bet squeeze pot. Let's look at another scenario. We take ace king O this time for clubbies, I guess. Yep. And that's just ridiculous. So we've only got the 2 overcard draw here with the backdoor flush draw, and all of a sudden we're only at 17% equity, so we're going to lose 1 time in 6. And yeah, this guy's just sitting pretty. Let's look at another one. This monster draw, we hit this overcard potential draw plus the 9 outs for the flush. And our squeezer was again squeezing light with a pair of 4s this time. Now before we just saw that we had 53% equity. When we have a clean 15 outs, that means we can hit either the king or the ace or any spade for the flush and still be better than that guy's underpair. This case is different. He 3-bet squeezed us light with a pair of 4s and flopped his set, as he will do again. Anybody remember how often? Right, 1 time in 8.5 with a pocket pair. And now when we're on this board, this queen 9 suited board with an ace king, right, matching suits, we only have 25%, 26% equity to the river. And this guy's here at 74, 75%, sitting pretty with his set of 4s in position. If in our push calculator we enter the full 54% and we're wrong, that is going to markedly change our results. So I wanted to throw this, guys, throw a few of these scenarios at you to let you know how your equity then changes in these given situations. Till next time, all the best, and best of luck at the tables.